Record on this computer. All right, so welcome. Deidre was not feeling so hot right now because of her surgery, and I just told her, I was like, go to bed, girl. I got this. I don't need you to be on the call. So she is not going to be joining us tonight. So if you have a message or a question specifically for Deidre, go ahead and send it to her, but I wouldn't expect a response tonight. I would wait until tomorrow because she had her catheter taken out today. So she is just resting up, but I'm really glad to see you. So for me, this is fun to get on these calls because I've actually been with Deidre now. It'll be 5 years in March, which is totally crazy. And I think sometimes when you've been in the business this long, it's really easy to not get on these types of calls live just because we're doing, like Ashley's on right now, and I love that, but like we're all running our own team calls and our own trainings, and it's easy to get away from where we started. But I wanted to really make an effort in 2019 to be more present with Deidre's team. So I offered to, do calls and just kind of try to get on these more, because for me as a veteran coach, it's really fun to get to meet some of you who are new to the organization. And I just wanted to extend my gratitude for, all of you for being here tonight. So anyways, my name is Sarah Griffith. As I said, I'm like about to hit year 5 of coaching, which is totally crazy. I didn't come into this business to do this at all. I came in as a challenger, and I did the fix for a month, and then I quickly became a coach. Deidre did not invite me to become a coach. I just messaged her and was like, I want to do this. I coached part-time for 2 years while I was teaching full-time. And then I was actually able to get to the point that I retired from teaching, and I have been doing Beachbody for 3 years, basically. It'll be in March, full-time. So that means that I work from home. I don't go to my teaching job. I quote unquote retired, and it's been a huge blessing for my family that I never knew I actually wanted or needed. So for those of you who are hustling in the late nights or early mornings and you're like, oh my goodness, this business feels impossible, or this feels really far away, just know that you can make it happen way quicker than you would realize. And it's absolutely worth it. I'm standing here. I get to stay home with my kids, and I've got another baby on the way, and life is just really different. So I wanted to share that to kind of give you guys hope. And tonight I'm going to be sharing with you some of my tips for social media. So I have a couple slides for us. So we'll go through the slides, but then I also will have you guys come and hang out with me on Instagram, and I'm just going to show you a couple things and kind of give value as we go. Sound like a plan? All right, so I will put this into full screen because I think you can see it better. But what that means is that when I'm in full screen, I have a hard time seeing your chat. So if you want to ask me something specific on that slide, just unmute and interrupt me. I will tell you that I used to teach high school, so I can go, and I don't come up for air. So if you need me to come up for air, just say, Sarah, stop. All right, so that's that. And then at the end, if you want to ask me any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It doesn't have to be on this call topic. It can be on something else, but I will tell you that the teacher in me likes to go by the bells, meaning that I like to keep you for no more than what I said, and I always keep my team calls to 30 minutes. So around 9 o'clock, we're going to plan to hop off. All right, sound good? Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and do the screen share now. And move over onto my slides, and I'll put it in present mode. Like I said, I can't really see you for the most part. So if you need me, interrupt. All right, so the topic tonight is sharing on social. I actually shared with you guys my Instagram username here. So if you want to write it down, go ahead and do that now so that you have it. It's at Sarah Elizabeth 27. No, I didn't choose that name after I was a coach. I chose it before, and then I couldn't switch it to my last name. So if you are just diving into Instagram and you haven't used your last name, or you don't love your username, I would change it if you can. Mine is really silly. It's my first name and my middle name, and then my birthday is January 27th. So I would not, don't get inspo from my username. It's not a good choice. People do not really know what my last name is, which at the time time when I was teaching, that was a good thing. I didn't want my students to be out finding me because I was teaching high school and they were definitely playing on Instagram. So that's my 2 cents on my username. It's not the best one, so don't take it as an example. But that is the one that I use. For what it's worth, I do not really play on Facebook. So yes, my content goes on Facebook as far as the posts that went to my Instagram feed, but you're not going to see me utilizing the Facebook like page or really even Facebook stories. And that's because I found my niche on Instagram. And that's where I play. That's where I do power hours. That's where my business lives, but it's not necessarily the right way. Again, there's lots of ways to do this business. But if you look at like my personal Facebook page, you're going to see there's like 2,000 friends on there, right? Whereas if you look at my Instagram account, it has a much larger following and my story views see several thousand a day. So that's where my business is. Okay, so we're going to talk tonight about your actual content on your social media. So we're talking about what you're saying, how you're saying it, the images that you're using, and just sort of like what your purpose is for your platform. So there's a quote out there that talks about how you should use social media to inspire people, not to try to impress people. And I think sometimes it's easy to want to do the opposite, to just impress them and make these posts that get lots of likes. But at the end of the day, that's not why we're showing up on social media. We're showing up to be a giver. That's my goal. So I aspire to be a giver on social media, whether you're my client or you're my coach or you're just following along for the ride. I want you to feel like, wow, like I go to her page and I feel better about something, whether it's like I give them hope, whether I give them ideas. Basically what I do is I ask myself, and I would love it if you guys could like jot this down in your notebook. If you're a note taker, you need to do this before you make all your posts. You need to ask yourself, what's the point? Am I teaching? Okay, so I hear somebody, so I'm going to maybe mute someone. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to ask yourself, am I teaching? Meaning, am I giving a resource? Like, did I just give a book suggestion? Did I just share a recipe? Did I just share a resource that I love? What did I do? Did I teach? Did I inspire? So some of my posts are strictly to inspire. It's to give somebody hope who's walking through a storm that I've already walked through. So you will see that in my feed, I talk about my struggle with infertility, with miscarriage, with loss, and what it's like to be pregnant with a rainbow baby. I'm pregnant right now. I'm 34 weeks pregnant with our second rainbow baby. And it's a whole new bag. When you've been pregnant after losing a baby, it's just not the same. But that is very much a demographic of women who I can relate to. So a lot of my posts, which I'll show you in a little bit, we'll talk about it, are related to that. I am not the perfect person to follow if you're like a first-time mom and you're so like jaded, if that makes sense, or not jaded, but like so clueless when it comes to pregnancy. Like I am for the person who knows what it's like to walk through a storm. But while I've walked through the storm, I'm also on the other side of it. And so I like to try to give hope to the people who are standing through infertility or who are really struggling to deal with pregnancy after loss or whatnot. So you'll see a lot of those types of posts. You'll see some motherhood posts. You'll see some business posts. You'll see me talk about my autoimmune condition, and you will see me share that I'm a crunchy mom, meaning that I live a lifestyle that's actually tied to my thyroid condition. So I don't use products that have fragrance. I try to eliminate chemicals from our home. I'm going to cloth diaper this next baby. I breastfed for 16 months. I am not everyone's cup of tea, and I know that. But when I talk to that person, and I'm really good at talking to my market, you can see it. It like is so blatant in my posts, which ones get the traction and which ones don't. So anyways, I also try to motivate. So sometimes you see the fitness posts or just the positive lifestyle. One of my top priorities in my life is my relationship with my husband and our marriage. So I often will share marriage suggestions. I'll talk about my husband in a positive way. I like to show that how he's a part of my lifestyle. And I also, I do create a lot of call to actions in my posts, whether it be for engagement or, like a drop an emoji kind of thing. But I find that honestly, my feed and my stories are like two different social media platforms at this point. Okay, so I want to take a second. I see that there's a couple things in the chat. So let me exit really quick so I can just see what you guys are saying. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the rainbow babies. Okay. Oh, yes, it's special and it's hard too, right? It's tricky. Okay. So let's keep going. So I want to tell you something that was taught to me when I was new. And again, 5 years later, this statement is still really important. I was taught that facts tell, but stories sell. Your story is what's going to sell people on you. It's going to be what differentiates you between all the other coaches. It's what's going to make people want to be a part of your tribe and not someone else's. So you have to figure out, what is your story? What are your pain points? Are you willing to get uncomfortable and share really raw things on social media? When you choose to do that, your business will flourish in big ways. So there's always a story. So when I make a post, it's usually long. And honestly, some people are going to scroll right past it and they're going to be like, whew, that's too much. Okay. But my people, meaning the people who are just like me, they will read it, because I used to read people's posts, every last word. Like I would read Deidre's. But your people who are following you because they're just like you, they're going to read it. Okay. So know that you need to tell a story. You need to dig into pain points, and you need to ask yourself all the time, like, okay, what did the old me need to hear? So I'm going to go over to my Instagram and I'm just going to show you a couple different things. Let's see. Somebody's not muted. Hold on. No, we're good. Okay. All right. So we're on Instagram right now. Can you guys see this? It is just my feed. And as you can see, I really try to not share a selfie. Like, you know how there's a lot of coaches where all their posts, if you look at their feed, it's just them like taking a selfie from 75 different angles. Have you ever noticed that? That's a thing that a lot of new coaches will do. They think that they just need to post a bunch of selfies. To be honest with you, your feed's gotta like be really different. And I'm super intentional about the way that the picture, how am I looking? Am I looking at the camera? Am I looking to the side? Where's my face going in the squares? How many times have I posted my kids? Is my husband involved? How many posts are food? How many of them are brand wrapping things? So I have been really fortunate that I get to do a lot of brand wrapping from other companies, meaning that they send me product for free, totally free, and I just have to share it. And so I have to build that into my feed as well. And you guys probably, if you pay attention enough, you can tell who I'm brand wrapping with, just because sometimes it's like, oh, she's totally repping with them. That's why that, like, for example, I was picked up by Earth Mama to be a part of their bump squad. So what that means is that for my entire pregnancy, they send me product every month, every trimester. I get gifts from them. They've been incredible, but then they share my content on their social media. You guys, it's awesome. So you want to work on creating those types of relationships. But if you look at this feed and you really start to like break it down and dissect it, you know that I didn't just like slap the same selfie up here. It was really intentional. And I catch myself, if I'm taking too many selfies, I take them down and I kind of just like play. And I'm like, that doesn't look good, or that's too much. Like, see how like here I'm looking at Carter. Here I'm looking at the camera. Like there's always just different angles. So I want you to kind of audit your own feed and ask yourself that, like, am I showing life through different lenses, or is it the same picture over and over again? Remember whenever I told you that every post has a story to it? There's a purpose behind it. And every single post will cause me to have something to invite to. I want to say I have a slide for that. So I'm going to take a second. Did anybody have a comment on this? Let's see. Okay, so she had a question about brand repping. Does it conflict with Beachbody? You have to choose brands that aren't already represented by the Beachbody catalog. So I could not sell or rep for another meal replacement company. I could not really do another pre-workout company, like things that are like basically like competition. No, you can't do it, but I can for a lot of other, like really, like if you would laugh if you saw my life. Like look at the corner of my office every day, like boxes just show up. Teacher and I like laugh about it because it's a bad habit. But anyways, I'm not going to go there right now. Okay. How do we change all the selfie pics if we aren't incredibly creative? Oh, you're all saying you're not creative with your pictures. Honestly, like it's just a matter of, I'm going to talk about props in a second, but it's a matter of like just changing it up. Like instead of looking straight, look to the side, look above, do a full body length instead of like all up front. Like just start with those little tweaks and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, okay, I can do this. And you'll start to get creative. Okay. So let me go back to these slides. And I want to go to this. Okay. So this is really important. So I'm going to go back to present mode. Now, it is really easy to be overwhelmed. Like some of you just said, I'm not creative, I can't do this. Or, oh, how many of you you get anxiety when it's time to create a post? Like anybody feel that way? You're like, oh, I've got to come up with content again. So sometimes you just post to post and you're like, okay, I want to be able to check that box off. I want to be able to say I posted today. And so you just throw something up there. And at the end of the day, you're like, that really wasn't a good post. How many of you have done that before? I mean, I've done that where I'm like, yeah, that was just, I was checking a box. Okay. So I call those so what posts, meaning that they didn't do anything. They didn't motivate. They didn't inspire. They didn't really do anything but possibly get you unfollowed, right? We've all seen that coach where you're like, I did my T25 or my T20 workout tonight. It was a good sweat. Okay, like that does nothing for anybody, and that probably lost you friends on social media. There's got to be a story behind it. You've got to give them something. So it has to be, it's not about me. Like these posts, they're not about me. They're about what my followers need to hear or see. But you need to be so good that like no one really has anything bad to say about you. And I know that some of you are always like, oh, I got haters, or oh, so-and-so doesn't like me. Here's what I'm going to tell you. And I'm really fortunate, and I'll knock on wood because I don't want it to start happening. But guys, in 5 years, I've probably gotten 5 haters, right? People who have said things that really aren't nice. And I know that they say like, if you're going to be successful, you're going to have people who don't like you or don't want to see your content. I'm sure I've been unfollowed. I'm sure I've been deleted, blocked, whatever. But at the end of the day, I give so much in my content that it's hard to hate me, right? It's hard to have rude things to say because all I'm doing is trying to make your world better and to be a light for you. And so that's what I want you guys to work on. Like, don't make so what posts, make impact posts, make worthwhile content every single day. And if at the end of the day, you're like, I don't give anything, like there are a couple days where you'll see that I didn't post. I might have been active in stories, but I didn't make a post. And it's because I didn't have anything to give that day. So I use stories so much that my feed can sometimes have a day off. Whereas when I was new, that wasn't the case. I was posting 3 to 5 times a day 5 years ago. So I am very grateful to be able to play on stories and sometimes not have to post for the day. All right, so let's go on to the next. So you need to somehow always evoke an invitation. So I plan my posts out. I actually do this on Sundays where I sit down and I say, what am I marketing for this week? So I plan out my posts. I plan out, what am I going to be sharing? What do I have to share from, am I inviting to the coaching opportunity? Is a challenge invite? What's it going to equal? Okay. And this takes intention, because some days my feed on Instagram won't evoke an invite, but my stories will, or my IG live will. But I'm very intentional. There's no just like, oh, I'm going to randomly post about this. No, this was planned out. This was thought about on a Sunday. And I want to kind of show you. So if we were to go through these posts, so like, and you can look too, like my traction, they love my bump. They love when I share my infertility struggle. They like my kids. They don't love when I post about the business opportunity. So no matter how long you've been at it, they don't love it. So don't feel like if you're a brand new coach and you're like, I don't get any traction on my business posts. That's okay. No one does, but we have to make them anyways. But if you look, every single thing technically would be a challenger or coaching invite, versus like this would be anybody who liked this post would get an invite about coaching. Okay, there's 102 people right there. So there's my invite. So I put it up on the 11th. So then on the 12th, when I went to do invites, there's where my invites came from. Okay. And then that next day, look, so I posted my son at the eye doctor. I'm giving them advice as a mom. I'm saying, make sure you get your kids' eyes checked. This one does not have an invite tied to it. Okay. But that day I would have went live on Instagram and talked about challenging or coach, like the challenge group or coaching opportunity, or I would have had a story that presented some type of invite from it. Okay. So like I said, super intentional about this. This post was a challenge group invite, because I was talking about my health and my grandma's health conditions and what cards I have stacked against me. Okay. So there's 376 people that I could invite to a challenge group. Are you guys seeing a pattern? I'm not just posting to post. I'm super intentional, and I want you to work on being able to do the same thing. Okay, so I actually do want you guys to do a little bit of homework after this call, and I want you to like dig through my feed a little bit, and I want you to say like, what's she inviting to? And if it's not an invite, I want you to look at the next post or the next one, and you're going to see, okay, I get it. Because I want you guys to be able to get good at this, where you're constantly being able to put up content that evokes an invite, because it's powerful. Okay. So anyways, I do plan ahead. I plan content. I even typically plan pictures ahead of time. It really helps me a lot. Again, with my imagery, it's intentional. I do obviously all those pictures in my feed. These are not just like, oh, hey, I got lucky. These are like, hey, I took 10 tries and I edited it through different filters. And, it wasn't just like, I didn't slap this up here, if that makes sense. Okay. So no, these are not in the spur of the moment pictures. When I was a brand new coach, I was like trying to take pictures while I worked out. It was bad. Okay. Really, really bad. Bad lighting, bad props, like bad everything, but I'm still here 5 years later. So if you're bad right now, just keep practicing. Okay. One thing that can make your photos more fun are props. So things like blankets, like fuzzy blankets, or a cool rug to have to put your food on, desk accessories, pops of color, looking the part. Like, guys, when I started as a coach, I had 2 pairs of black leggings, and I would wear like college sorority t-shirts, like from homecoming, right? They were ugly. And my workout clothes, I did not look like a fitness coach. And so finally I was like, girl, like, you're a fitness coach, so you need to look the part. And so I went out and I would treat myself. Every time I would hit a milestone in my business, I'd buy workout clothes because I wanted to look the part. So now my workout clothes drawer, it's pretty incredible, okay? But so if you're like, I don't really look the part right now, invest in this stuff. Get some props, get some workout clothes, use the right equipment. If you don't have a tripod, you're crazy. Get one. They're like $10, $15 on Amazon. Get a light system, whether it's an umbrella or a ring light or whatever, but invest in your business like it's a real business. Now, I want you to work on creating something that I teach to my coaches. I call it the I'll have what she's having energy. So have you ever seen somebody and they just light up a space and you're like, I want to be her, right? Have you ever felt that way about someone, or you're not like, I want to be her, but you're like, I want that kind of life. I want that kind of happiness. I want that energy. I want that kind of motivation. And you're just drawn to that person. How many of you know somebody like that where you just can't stop watching them because they're so good at what they do? I want you to work on creating that type of energy in your social media, not just your pictures, but in your stories too. And a lot of my new coaches say, I don't know how to do that. How would I do that, right? How do I become that person that people want to watch? The answer is that you dig down deep into personal development, okay, and your fitness journey. You will be such a light if you're doing those two things, okay? I promise. And when I say PD, you know how they tell you for your vital behaviors, do like 10 pages a day? I literally live on PD. Like, I probably listen to 2 to 3 hours of PD a day. And my friends tease me that I live in this bubble. They're like, Sarah, you literally live in a bubble of like positive energy. And I'm like, yes, and I want to stay in that bubble. Okay, right? Because I don't want to be negative. I don't want to have to be brought down by others. So I do live here, but I only live here because I make a choice to be here and to listen to the PD and to not let others stand in my way. So that's how you can create some of that energy. And so another piece of advice that I kind of want to wrap with is I want you to stop watching them. And you're probably like, who's them? It's the people you're watching all the time on social media, right? We join as coaches and then we try to look up who are the top 10 coaches or who spoke on the call this week. And then you start following them. And all of a sudden you find yourself constantly watching every other coach's story and you're looking at their feed and you're like, what am I doing, right? I'm into this black Instagram hole where now I'm comparing my life and my business and the way I'm sharing my journey to everybody else. And you need to know that like some of you are brand new. Don't compare your beginning to my 5 years, right? I told you to go on my feed tonight and audit, and I told you to do those things, but at the end of the day, like, don't watch me for very long, and don't compare your Instagram to mine, and don't compare your story to mine. I've had 5 years to get good at telling my story. So just make yourself a deal and say, tonight I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop comparing myself to everybody else because it will rob you of your joy. It's not going to make you more creative. Sometimes my new coaches say, but Sarah, like, I like following all these people because then it makes me know what to post about. I'm like, girl, you're dimming your light, okay? You will shine brighter as yourself. Stop watching. So that's some of my advice for you. I'm going to stop the screen share now, and I'm just going to answer any questions that you have. If you have anything, I'll look at the chat or you can unmute. Let's see what we have so far. Okay. Lauren asked, should our posts always come back to our story? And what if we're still figuring out what that story is? Yes. So you should have like 5 things that's all you post about, because people need to know you for a certain brand and your story will evolve. So 5 years in, I've had 2 pregnancies. I've had 2 miscarriages. I've quit a job. I've went from trying to balance, coaching part-time while doing my teaching job to now I literally work from home. Like, there's things that have evolved on my journey, and I've just shared it along the way. I've dealt with postpartum anxiety and depression after having Grace. I got counseling, and I've been really open about sharing that journey over the last year. And that's allowed me to attract a whole new market. So like everything you're going through, there's a market for it. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? Again, it doesn't have to be just about social media stuff. It can be anything. See, some of you are typing. Let's see. This is like teaching high school, where you stare at the class, you're like, all right, who's going first, right? Okay. All right. Ashley, thank you. That's super sweet. What about stories of us doing workouts? Yeah, every day. 2 of them. So you want to make sure that you include a couple. Don't include all of them. Some coaches will include every move. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to be talking to your followers and they're going to say to you like, oh, actually, I do your workouts. And I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, no, I do your workouts from your stories. If you give away all your workouts and all the moves, they're not going to need BOD because they just watch you. So I always do 2 a day. And then I usually have like a picture afterwards with it or a call to action. And I will say the last 2 weeks, you haven't seen much workout stuff from me. I've been slacking just because this belly is getting big, but I'm actually going to be going live this week and talking about that. So if you are at a point in your journey where you're not seeing one of the vitals, it's up to you to share why. Let's see. When you say dig deep for the story, what about things that involve others that may be watching? Yeah, so you have to be, what you're sharing about has to be something that you're allowed to share about. You know, some of you may have like divorce stuff where you can't share or like legal things that you can't share. And so you do have to be smart and you have to be respectful. Some of you can't share things maybe because of your career. So you just got to know what eggshells you have to walk around. When I was teaching full time, it was very hard to be able to, I wasn't allowed to say like, oh, I'm on this mission to quit my job, right? I couldn't share that. So I had to very creatively paint the picture that girlfriend's probably not sticking around too much longer, right? Like, but I never could come out and say it. So you just have to get creative. Okay, so domestic abuse. Lauren, as long as you feel like you can be a light for that story, I say go for it. It's a topic that a lot of women have been through. And if you feel like you're on the other side, then yeah, you share. Or if you aren't on the other side, but you're confident that you can share it and you know it's not going to be a safety issue for you, then yes. What else? Anything? How many of you do find yourself like probably following too many coaches? Is that an issue for any of you where you're like, I'm comparing myself? Yeah. It's like, I just want you to give yourself permission tonight to say like, no more. I'm going to do me. I'm going to do it really well. And I'm just going to shine. And I promise you, your people are going to follow. Yeah.
Is it okay if I ask you a question on that?
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
I actually have that problem. I have a ton of coaches that follow me. So because I previously won the Beachbody Challenge, I have like this over influx of people that follow me that are coaches.
Yeah.
So it makes it difficult for me to like fish through all of that. So how can I like navigate that better?
So that's tricky. So what she just said, she was a Beachbody Challenge winner, right? So that's amazing. Congratulations. Anytime something like that happens, or maybe if you speak on a call, like say you speak on the Dream Team call, you're going to get 50 new friends following you who are all coaches, or the National Wake Up Call or whatever. It's going to happen. Here's the deal. Beachbody coaches, as much as you don't want to be following them all, they're not so bad for your affinity on Instagram because they're probably liking your stuff. They may even comment. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have them following you. I don't go and follow them back typically. Like if I see a new follower, if I look to see, like if I click on their profile and they're a coach, I don't follow them back, but I let them watch. I will say like, you know, even other MLMs, a lot of people are like, oh, the oil people are following me, or the, you know, beauty counter people. But like, guys, like beauty counter people still need to work out. Like it's okay to have people from other MLMs. So don't stress about it. Every day when I do my invites, I'm inviting from who's watching my stories and who's commenting and interacting on my posts. And I just do a real quick scan. If I can't tell in the first couple blocks that they're a coach, number one, they're doing a good job. Because I don't want you to be able to tell right away. Like, I don't want you to scream Beachbody when I look at your feed. So anyways, I just send them a message, and sometimes they're like, oh, I'm a coach. I'm like, hey girl, how long have you been coaching? Like, I just try to be their friend. Okay, great question. Anything else? Where are you guys playing? If you can put it in the chat section. Are you on Instagram or are you on Facebook? Deidre like sometimes shakes her head at me, but I don't even teach my new coaches how to play on Facebook anymore. I only train Instagram. That's it. So my girls are all IG girls, but that's because that's where I'm getting all of them too. Yeah. And she said that she tends to get a lot of hey girl messages from other coaches and they're bad. Yes. So I decided I didn't want to be that girl sending the hey girl, thanks for the new follow. And I only send video messages and I record them every morning. So I got to be in what I'm wearing for the day because they're watching me on stories. But I just send like a 15-second clip of like, hey, I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for the new friendship. I'm excited to get to know you better. You know, I tell them I play in my stories all day or whatever. Like I don't send that stock message every day. Like every day I send a new little video clip. I stay on Instagram and just have it shareable. Yep. Yeah. And it's not bad. Like Facebook's not bad. It's just that for my market of like 32-year-old women who have kids right now, they're all playing on Instagram. So that's where I'm at. I was really tired of like talking to my grandma and her being like, oh, I see you on Facebook. I'm like, oh, I gotta stop this. Like, I don't need grandma knowing all my business, if that makes sense. Let's see. So Jackie said, you record and send the same one to new followers, new conversations. Every day I record a couple new videos. So like, thanks for the new follow. I record a video asking people why they're watching my stories. I do record an invite if I'm going to send an invite based off the challenge group or if they watched my live. And then every day I do new connects. So I've been really strategic. And every week since week 8 of being pregnant, I connect with 10 people a day who are pregnant. So I go and I follow at least 10 a day who are at the exact same week in my pregnancy. And they think it's so funny. They're like, oh my gosh, my due date is April 5th. And I'm like, I know because I picked you when I found you. So they don't know that. But anyways, I send them a video and I'm like, I'm due on this day. This is whatever. And so every week for the past 30 some weeks, I've been finding people who are at the same point in the game with me. And they're not people who necessarily have become customers today, but they're going to watch me have this baby right alongside with them. Then they're going to watch me crush my postpartum transformation. And then 6 months later, I know they're going to be like, girl, help, right? So just know that you're planting seeds for down the road. It's not all today. Yep. Other MLMs. So somebody said they're getting bad messages from other MLMs. Yeah, I get them too. Like, oh, hey girl, you're really pretty. Can I ask you a question? No, like you guys know you can get those. Listen, I never start a sentence with hey girl anymore because it's so overused. And like, as soon as someone sees it, they're like, ah. So I don't say hey girl or hey lady or any of those things. Okay, let's see. Anything else? How do I run challenge groups? I only use my challenge tracker. So for the last 3 years, that's all I've used. I don't use Facebook. I do have a Facebook group for my coaching info, but my team and I, you're getting top secret info. My team and I have been working. If you go on Instagram and you search Team Fit and Fabulous, it has no followers right now because it's a secret. But we are working to build a coach sneak peek that will live on Instagram in the stories. You can go watch them if you want. What's your opinion on follow and unfollow apps? I think it'll get you where you need to be if you need to. I worked with a delegated person for the last 1.5 years, and it worked for me. I built organically to like 4,000 followers, and then I just needed help. So I am at like 17.3 right now, and I don't use an app. But Captivate. A lot of my newer coaches are using Captivate, the paid version, not the free, and they're seeing a lot of success, like good people. And I know that some of the top 10 coaches are using Captivate. Yes, I do make my own graphics. It's actually a reward to myself when I get my work done. So I love to play in Canva, but I don't let myself do it unless I have done my invites and done all the things. Anything else? Let's see. Somebody asked, she's got a lot of friends that are preggo. Would it be a good idea to offer a new mom group? No. If you don't love the theme, like if you're like, this isn't my season of life, don't do it. Like if you're like, I am not pregnant right now, my friends might be pregnant, but I'm not, or that's not like my thing. Like my groups have to, for me to be excited and into them, it's got to be with like what I'm dealing with. Like I love when I run groups when my anxiety is high on anxiety. I love whenever I do like postpartum or thyroid stuff or breastfeeding stuff, but it has to be the season that I'm in. So I would like when you're coming up with themes for your challenge group, if you want to like spark energy and excitement in the group, just ask yourself like, what am I dealing with right now? Because there's people going through the same thing, and make your group on that theme. All right. Anything else? I know I told you I wanted to get you off here at 9 and it's 9:09. I'm sorry. All right. Anything before we go that you're like, I gotta ask her? How do I market for anxiety? Oh, I just talk about it. I mean, like I just say, like, I talk about my story and like what I went through and how I overcame it. I talk about how like counseling is the best money I spend on myself. Like every woman needs a counselor. She just doesn't know it yet. Like seriously, girls, like your world will be changed if you go. And I only started going in April, but she's helped me be like such a bright light for other people and myself, and just totally pulled me around. I actually just got Deidre to start going to counseling. So it's so good. Okay. All right. Well, I love you guys. I'm rooting for you in this business. I want you to know that no matter how long I've been here, you all still matter to me. And that just, we're really lucky and fortunate to be a part of this team. Deidre is an incredible mentor, and you couldn't have picked better people to be on your journey with. So if you need anything, I'm here. Just know that it might take me a little bit to get back to your messages. Sometimes I don't see them. They go to my other folder, but don't send me a message on Facebook. I'll never probably see it. I'll see it, but I won't write back. Anyways, okay. All right. I will let you go. See you soon. Good luck. Good night.